What's up guys, Bilal here from iZroid, and in this video I am going to talk about the latest iPad Pro 10.5 inches which is just revealed at WWDC 2017, and I am going to compare it with the older one, the iPad Pro 9.7 inch, which was the last year model, and let us see what are the difference between this model and the latest model. So without any further delay, let's get started. Apple unveiled several new devices at WWDC 2017, one of which was an update in specs to the iPad Pro 12.9 inch, while another was a slightly redesigned and upgraded successor to the iPad Pro 9.7 inch. We have put the specs of the new larger iPad Pro 10.5 inch against the older iPad Pro 9.7 inch to see what's the difference are and what are the changes that have been made to the latest one. And here we will discuss should you upgrade from the 9.7 inch iPad Pro to the 10.5 inch and which one is better for you, and we find out in this video. We talk about the design of iPad Pro 10.5 inch and the iPad Pro 9.7 inch. The iPad Pro 10.5 inch is larger and heavier, and both come in additional rose gold color. Both offer 4 speakers setup and smart connector. iPad Pro 9.7 inch measures 240 into 169.6 into 6.1 millimeter and weighs 437 gram, which is identical to the older iPad Air 2. It comes in 4 colors, features Touch ID within the home button, and it is a thin, light, well proportioned and well balanced tablet. iPad Pro 10.5 inches on the other hand is a little larger, heavier than its predecessor, measuring 250.6 into 174.1 into 6.1 millimeter and weighs 469 grams, and it's coming into 4 colors comprising space gray, silver, gold and rose gold, and it features the same design as the model it replaces, only with a 40% reduction in the bezels around the display, making it a little larger display, the 10.5 inch. Both the iPad Pro 9.7 and the iPad Pro 10.5 inches feature 4 speaker setup, a smart connector on the rear, and compatibility with the Apple Pencil and Apple Smart Keyboard for working on the move. Talking about the display of both the devices, the iPad Pro 10.5 inch has 20% larger display, and it's brighter, less reflective display on the iPad Pro 10.5 inches, and it supports for the higher refresh rate of 120 Hz on the iPad Pro 10.5 inches. The Apple iPad Pro 9.7 inch and the iPad Pro 10.5 it both sit in the middle of the iPad lineup when it comes to the size. iPad Pro 9.7 inch has a resolution of 2048 into 1536 pixels, while the iPad Pro 10.5 inches has a 2224 into 1668 resolution, resulting in the same pixel densities of 264 ppi for both the devices. The two devices also offer Apple's True Tone display, adapting the color intensity of the display to match the light in your environment, while a fingerprint resistant and anti-reflective coating is also present, and a P3 wide color gamma. The iPad Pro 10.5 inch does not stop there, though. Apple claims it offers the most advanced display in the world, and it is said to be brighter, less reflective and more responsive thanks to the support for the faster 120 Hz refresh rate. This means that while the iPad Pro 9.7 inch screen is excellent, the 10.5 inch device is likely to offer noticeably more improvements, especially in terms of smoother and more fluid experience from both your finger and Apple Pencil. Talking about the camera on both the devices, the iPad Pro 10.5 inches has improved front and rear facing cameras, a flash available for front and rear on both capable of recording 4K video from rear. The iPad Pro 9.7 inch offers the same camera as iPhone 6s. There is a 12 megapixel rear sensor capable of 4K recording and a 5 megapixel front facing snapper. A True Tone flash is also present on the rear, and a Retina flash is featured on the front, again like the iPhone 6s. iPad Pro 10.5 inches on the other hand features the same cameras as the iPhone 7, meaning improvements over the iPad Pro 9.7 inches. A 12 megapixel rear sensor is still present, but advancements have been made. It offers a quad LED True Tone flash, and the aperture is 1.8, and optical image stabilization is also there, with many good features which are not present in 9.7 inch iPad Pro. On the front, the resolution sees a bump to 7 megapixels on the iPad Pro 10.5 inch, though like the iPad Pro 9.7 inch, a Retina flash is also present, and it is capable of recording HD videos, while the iPad Pro 9.7 inches tops out at only 720p recording. And regardless of what you think about using an iPad as a camera, the iPad Pro 9.7 inch is a great performer, so the iPad Pro 10.5 inch is likely to be even better than 9.7 inch iPad Pro. Talking about the hardware on both the devices, there is more storage options with iPad Pro 10.5 inches, faster processor with iPad Pro 10.5 inches, same sound capabilities on both models. The iPad Pro 9.7 inch features the A9X chip with M9 Motion co-processor under its hood. When it launched, it was as quick and fast as tablets came. Storage options comprise 32GB, 128GB and 250GB for both. Pro 10.5 inch upgrades these specs now, as you would expect. It comes with the A10X Fusion processor with the M10 Motion co-processor, and Apple has said it will be 30% faster in performance and 40% faster in graphics than its smaller predecessor. Storage options are also different, with the 10-inch offers 64GB, 256GB and 512GB variants. About the battery life, both are said to give 10 hours of battery life, and they both offer a 4-speaker setup, meaning a more rounded sound compared to slightly tiny audio produced by the much older iPad Air 2. Talking about the software on both the devices, both for an iOS 10, both the Apple iPad Pro 9.7 inch and the iPad Pro 10.5 inch run on iOS 10, meaning the software experience will be almost identical across these two models until iOS 11 launches in September. We are presuming all the new and exciting features announced for iOS 11, such as drag and drop, easier split screen functionality and file system, will come to both the iPad Pro 9.7 inch and the iPad Pro 10.5 inch. It's worth mentioning that because of the faster refresh rate on the new model, the experience is likely to be smoother, quicker than on the older model. However, so bear that in mind. Talking about the price tag on both the devices, the iPad Pro 9.7 inch is around €80 cheaper. iPad Pro 9.7 is discontinued from Apple. The Apple iPad Pro 9.7 inch had a starting price of $549, stretching to $849 for the highest storage capacity and Wi-Fi and cellular when it first arrived. Has been discontinued from the Apple, though it can be bought from other sites such as Amazon for around $535. iPad Pro 10.5 inches is more expensive, starting at $619 and hitting $1,019 for the largest storage capacity and Wi-Fi and cellular. Remember that the highest storage capacity is double that of the iPad Pro 9.7 inch, being 512GB, hence the huge price difference at the top end due to the storage capacity differences. For the conclusion being, the iPad Pro 9.7 inch is an excellent tablet that brought a number of improvements over the Air 2, including sound, Apple Pencil capability, camera and processing power. When it launched, it was Apple's highest spec tablet yet, though it did not come at a low price, and now the same applies to the iPad Pro 10.5 inch. iPad Pro 10.5 inches offers a huge bump in hardware, a bump in storage, and perhaps more importantly, big advancements in display. The bezels have been reduced, resulting in larger screen size without too much of an increase in footprint, while the support for the faster refresh rate should make a big difference to the overall performance of the iPad Pro 10.5 inch. If you are in the market for an iPad and you are choosing between these two devices, the 10.5 inch model is no brainer. If you are considering upgrading from the iPad Pro 9.7 to the iPad Pro 10.5 inch, you are likely to notice a difference in both performance and display experience. But whether you think they weren't, the splurger is your call to make, and it depends on your own choice. And if you want to enjoy the cool features like the faster refresh rate and more power to the display and more power in the hardware and a better software experience, then the 10.5 inch iPad Pro is a better option. But if you want to stick with the 9.7 inch with the same iOS 10 or the latest iOS 11 version being upgraded in September to this device, it will be also a huge difference between the older version and the next version. And now it depends upon you what you like, but in my opinion, 10.5 inch iPad Pro is much better than the older version. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, then give this video a thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe to our channel, the iZroid. And up till next video, bye bye and peace.